What is up, guys? I'm out here in the woods today. As you can see, I just got permission to this place, and I researched that there was a Civil War house here that was burned by Union soldiers in 1864, and I want to show y'all what I just walked up on. It's pretty cool. So I just walked up on this, and you can see this house was probably built back after the Civil War. This may or may not be the original brick stack, but I will say that it's very unusual to see these natural rocks at home sites in my region of the country. We don't really have many natural rocks, so it would have been a good thing to build your house out of, and it would have been an early settler type of thing. So odds are these stones are original. You can see these bricks. They look like they could be 1860s bricks. There's a lot of interesting things about bricks that can tell you the age of a home site. For the most part, if it's crumbly and orange, then it's going to be an early to mid 1800s site. And this is kind of sort of the later style of bricks. This is the mid to late 1800s style, and you can actually see there's some very early concrete on this piece. So I would assume what I'm looking at here is this the brick stack from a later house that was here, because I'm sure they built this house back after the war. But I'm going to keep walking along this ridge here. There's iron scattered all up and down through here. I've already found a few neat things that I'll show you here in a second, but all the way down at the end is a nice knoll, and I'm going to try and see if there's possibly an earlier site down there. So let's get to it and see if we can find anything. So I just got a mid-tone signal right here, and it is a nice little brass ring. It's got a little line down the middle of there. I'm not 100% sure if it's a finger ring or not, but I would assume so. It's not flared out, it's pretty flat, and that design is etched in and not raised, but hard to say. It could be off of anything. There's a stamp on the inside. It's a little small for a ring, but then again, people were smaller back then. But we'll have to get it cleaned up and see if there's a stamp or anything on the inside that'll give us a little bit better of a clue. So I just got another mid-tone here, and it was this piece, which unfortunately broke in half upon pulling it out of the hole because it's very fragile. But what this is actually the top centerpiece to an old oil lantern, and that slot right there is where the wick came out. So the wick would have come straight up right there. So that's definitely at least 1800s, possibly early 1900s piece. So we're headed in the right direction to find some mid-1800s or possibly some Civil War stuff. There's a lot of Civil War action around here, so we stand a decent chance of finding a military site. So Jeff just got himself a good, nice little early flat button here. You can see a little bit of the maker's mark there on the back. Looks like something in Co. maybe. But when you flip it over, it's got this nice little beautiful flower design on it. Little five-pointed flower with petals. Pretty sweet. It's definitely an 1830s, 40s, somewhere in there. This would be referred to as a Gilded Age button, which is generally 1830s to early 40s. That's pretty cool, though. It's a little dished there. If I can hold it right. It's so small. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit dished. It's pretty neat. Beautiful little button. Check this out, guys. Jeff just made the find of the day already. My hands are shaking. Look at that. That is a carved lead dice from the Civil War. I haven't even cleaned it off yet. I'm sure it's got the little divots in it. Man, that is beautiful. These are extremely hard to find, and that one's just beautiful. Handmade out of a Civil War bullet. That is incredible. We've just gotten into more of a Civil War site here, so man, that is just a beautiful, beautiful relic right there. So I just got a good scratchy signal here. It sounded kind of bad because there's a nail in the hole, and I just dug this. It says C.C. Cleaves, bookseller and stationer. It looks like it says number 12, front row, Memphis, Tennessee. And that is a very old token. Look at this side. It's got a book on it with a little quill pen, little inkwell. That is just crazy. I'm going to see if I can find a matching picture, and if I can, it'll be right there on the left for you to see. But I'm going to do some quick research on this in the field. That hole there was obviously punched because it goes through the design on there. But that's pretty sweet there. I would say that's probably mid-1800s for sure, especially with that reeded edge. That's really unique. So I just dug a nice little squeaky signal and found me a nice little cuff flat button, 1830s period. Nothing on the front, but definitely a nice little pre-Civil War period find. But I was doing some research on that token. Here it is again. And based on what I'm seeing, it's an 1852 or mid-1850s token for a bookseller in Memphis. And it was number 12 front row. And that's right downtown along the river, so it would be Front Street now. That is pretty sweet right there. This side is definitely my favorite. I mean, just look at that. That is just a beautiful design. A nice wreath with a book and some paper, a little quill pen and an inkwell. Just a really cool little design right there. And based on what I'm reading, it's a pretty rare find too. So super thrilled with that. That definitely made my day for sure. So Jeff just got himself this really cool. Let me get it in the sunlight here. Look at how tiny that little flat button is. That thing is microscopic, man. It is just tiny. Wow. Boy, I bet that was just a little squeaker, huh?
Yeah, it's the smallest button I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the smallest I've ever seen too. That's crazy. Yeah, we're in a nice little spot here. Hopefully it'll have a design on it. That's pretty neat. So Jeff just got a good signal here, and it's a big silver half, and I think it's a walker. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a walker. You can see it there. I'll get it on camera. Yeah, it's definitely a walker. See if we can get a date off of it without messing it up too much. Oh, it's late. It's 44. 1944. A nice 1944 half dollar there. Beautiful chunk of silver. Look how thick that puppy is. Beautiful. Yep. That's a good one. So I'm out here in this thicket here, relic hunting, and I just found myself a nice, beautiful fired mini ball from the American Civil War. There was a lot of action here in late 1863, so that's probably roughly the time frame when this was fired. Could be 64 too. There's still a lot going on around here during that time. And I've actually found quite a few other interesting items today. This is my second bullet. I just found another fired 3-ringer right here behind me. I'll get out and show you here in a second. But I got that and some camp lead and a handle to a frying pan, all in this one little spot right here. Oh, and a little piece of a suspender clip too. So pretty cool. I'll keep going. This one really splattered against a rock. Hopefully we can find some dropped ones here in a minute. Cool. Here's the fired mini ball I got just a minute ago. You can see this one's really probably fired straight into the ground or possibly a tree. It's really mushroomed. You can see little lines on this side where it struck the ground or whatever it hit. That's pretty cool right there. 2 bullets today, not bad. Walking out on this old trail. This old trail here is actually Civil War period, which is quite interesting because it's still in use. There's horseshoes and all kinds of stuff along the trail here, and we walked into a little picket post back there and dug a handful of bullets. So it's pretty cool. It's cool to be able to walk the same path that Civil War soldiers walked 160 years ago. 161 in this case.